Hey, vinyl community. In this video, I'm going to be jumping on a thread that my good friend Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll started on his channel. And what Gary wants us to do is he wants us to show our 5 favorite songs that have to do with dogs. I personally do not own any pets, let alone a dog, but I certainly know a lot of music that has a dog as a theme, and so I thought I would share 5 of my own personal favorites. The first one I am choosing is Who Let the Dogs Out by Baha Men. Now, if you know anything about this song, basically it's a song, somebody owns a lot of dogs, keeps them very carefully in his fenced-in yard, and somebody, and then probably his kid, if you have children, wouldn't surprise you to probably know that it was probably his kid, has let all of his dogs out, and they're out roaming the yard, they're in the street, they're in his neighbor's yard, they're like everywhere causing chaos and havoc. And the person singing the song comes home, he's watching all this craziness unfold around him, and he's like, who let the dogs out? And so it's sort of like he's trying to figure out in his own mind, like, what happened, and probably shouting at his kids, because I'm sure he knew immediately when he saw the dogs running around the yard, like, I can't leave you guys home alone. You guys can't, I go up to the store, I leave you guys alone for 15 minutes. You can't keep the goddamn dogs in the yard. So now he's having to go and try and corral and round up all these dogs, and he's pissed and he's shouting, who. That's my favorite line in the song is the who. And he knows who. That's a funny part of the song is he knows exactly who let the dogs out. But at the same time, it's almost like he's cursing the fact that he's got to round up all these dogs. But anyway, it's a joyful song. You can't get away from hearing it, especially when it was out. Seems like there was no escaping this particular song. But it's still now, since some time has passed, and if you've gone a while after not having heard the song sounds pretty fresh when you do hear it. Still kind of pumps me up like it did the first time I heard it. But cool song nonetheless. The second song I'm going to choose is by Hometown Heroes, Iggy Pop and the Stooges, back when they were just called the Stooges. I Want to Be Your Dog. And it's about a guy who relates to the life of a dog, and he knows, like, I'm never going to be your boyfriend, but I still want to have a relationship with you, and if that means I have to be your pet. He's not literally wanting to be a dog, but it's sort of a metaphor that he's using, wanting to be so close to somebody, wanting to be in a relationship with somebody so bad that you would settle for being their pet, basically, is what he's getting at. So it's kind of a, off the cuff love song, but nonetheless, I think it works pretty effectively. Now, you know me, I'm a big Beatles fan. Somebody already picked Martha My Dear off the White Album, so I'm not going to go with that one. But I do have 2 separate Beatles songs that are dog related. The first one is 3 Legs by Paul McCartney off his Ram album. Now, people have said that this is a commentary on the breakup of the Beatles because he sings, my dog, he got 3 legs, your dog, he's got 1. And I think I know John Lennon definitely thought that the song was about him and took it to mean that Paul McCartney was saying that John Lennon broke up the Beatles and it was all John Lennon's fault. But I don't think that that's necessarily true. Paul was the one who put out the press release officially announcing the breakup of the Beatles in May of 1970. But all that aside, it does have dog in the title. It talks about, his dog, unfortunately, his physically impaired dog who only has 3 legs. Never find out. He doesn't discuss how the dog lost his leg or how his friend's dog lost 3 of its legs, because that dog only has 1 leg. But they could have worked at, maybe they were in a war, maybe they were both clearing out minefields. I have no idea, but the song is what it is. And that's a kind of a country laced song a little bit. There's definitely a twang to it. But I do enjoy it. That's one of my favorite, might be my favorite Paul McCartney album, Ram, but definitely like that song. Number 4 is a song from George Harrison off his All Things Must Pass album. I'm talking about My Sweet Lord. Of course, the story behind this track is George Harrison was working very long hours in the studio, putting together what eventually became the triple album, All Things Must Pass. And his great joy at the end of the day was coming home to his dog, who he had named Lord, because George is very spiritual. And just getting to play with that dog at the end of a very tiresome, long, grueling day in the studio. He was very much looking forward to getting home at night and playing with his dog, Lord, and the relaxation and comfort that that dog brought him. Of course, George got sued over that song and its resemblance to He's So Fine by the Chiffons, but it's still a great song. George's first breakthrough single as a solo artist. And it's one of the highlights of All Things Must Pass, definitely. Now, the last track that I'm going to choose, the last dog-related song, is by a band called Lobo. And the song is called Me and You and a Dog Named Boo. Some people might think it's silly. It's definitely a 70s kind of a soft rock track, but it's definitely, the song about a relationship between a guy, his girl, and his dog. In the last verse, it kind of takes an unexpected turn towards the dark side, where the singer is talking about he pulls into a gas station, he's pumping his gas, his dog climbs out through the window, there's somebody else pumping gas at the pump right next to his. The dog comes up, the dog is barking at this person, the dog is maybe snapping a little bit, dog's not on a leash, and this person who's pumping the gas pulls out a pistol, shoots the dog dead right there, and the singer of the song is like, what in the hell? And he's torn between wanting to go after this guy who just shot his dog and comforting his dog who's laying there bleeding. So of course he goes to the dog, he's laying there, he's shouting at the guy, what the hell is the matter with you? It's a tiny dog, he wasn't causing you any harm. And the guy's like, get your dog on a leash, this is not my fault. And the guy who's hovering over his dog's bleeding, he's yelling at his girlfriend, go in the gas station, get some help, call for some help. And so the girlfriend, she rushes in the gas station. Eventually the police arrive, the police come, they see this dog dying, or might be dead at that point. And the police are like, what is going on here? And the guy's like, this guy shot my dog for no reason. The guy's like, look, this dog is a menace. This dog was coming at me. It was totally in self-defense. And the police to the guy are like, what are you doing? Firing a gun in a gas station? Are you kidding? You could have blown this whole place up. They're not even mad that the guy shot the dog. They're more like, this is crazy. Do you realize you could have blown this entire station up? The guy from the gas station's out. He's trying to make sense of what's going on. And eventually the police let the guy go and drive off, like he's gone now. And so this guy he's cradling his dead dog in his arms, and his girlfriend's like, I'm so sorry. The guy from the gas station's like, is there anything that we can do? And the guy's like, no. But this guy, the guy who shot his dog, he got his license plate. The guy who's cradling the dead dog got the license plate of the guy who shot his dog, committed it to memory, and basically buries the dog. But a few weeks later, he is able to find the address based on, he's got a friend in the police force, obviously, and they were able to find out who this guy was, found his address, and so this guy gets a gun and lies in wait. And that's in the song. He's like, in the middle of the night, as the moon shining bright, he's waiting out in front of this guy's house with a rifle. He sees the lights go off in the house, and he goes up, turns the lock on the door very quietly, creeps in, and shoots this guy in his bed. And the police come, the sirens are there, and the whole time while this guy's waiting for the police to show up, he's thinking about his dog, and he's reminiscing about his girlfriend and his dog and how idyllic his life was back at that time. And then eventually the police come, they arrest him, they take him to jail. Well, 5 years later, the guy who he shot, his son, comes to visit him in prison. And he's like, "You shot my daddy." And he's like, "Well, your daddy shot my dog." And the kid's like, "No, my dad, that's not my dad. My dad would have never done anything like that. My dad loved animals. We've had dogs all my life. We've had a number of animals. We used to live on a farm. We had farm animals. That is not my daddy." And the guy's like, "It absolutely is. And my girlfriend can vouch for it." Gives the kid his girlfriend's phone number. He's like, "Here, call her. She will vouch for everything that I just said." And he relates to him the entire story of the gas station confrontation and the fact that this dog is a small dog. It's not in any way a threat to him. Like, come on, don't be ridiculous. And the kid is like, "Now I don't have a father. You might not have a dog, but now I don't have a father." And in some ways he's trying to say, my loss is greater than your loss in this dog. And so that gets the guy, the singer, thinking again about the fact that, how much he missed his dog. His girlfriend and he broke up, obviously, because she's not dating somebody in prison. She met a truck driver and they went off to Tulsa, Oklahoma together. And so basically he's alone. He doesn't have his girl. He doesn't have his dog named Boo. Now he's pretty much got nothing. But he and this kid, they form a bond because they both have loss. And over time, they come to realize the kid continues to come visit the guy in prison. Not like every week or anything like that, but they establish a relationship, start writing to each other. Sometimes the kid will come visit him in prison. And eventually, this guy almost becomes a surrogate father to this kid whose father he has killed, who in turn had killed his dog. And so the whole story is kind of got a nice, the circular, the way the story comes around again. And now the guy's not alone. He's got this kid who is kind of a son to him now, and starts nicknaming the kid Boo. "Hey, Boo." When he comes to see him, he's like, "Hey, Boo." And he's like, "Hey, Dad." And, it's beautiful. And the guy ended up getting shanked in prison, I think, a few years later, and whatever. But anyway, so those are my 5 dog songs. And I've really enjoyed seeing other people's entries. Definitely jump on this thread. And again, check out Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll. Have a great day. Take care.